Black power, y'all. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
Follow the light. The light
Look good?
guide. I'm controller of planet X.
I'm gonna give y'all a chance to come in the room or whatever. So I'm not here just talking about myself. But we could do that. Come in the room. We're about to talk about Godzilla King of Monsters. This song is really significant to the subject too. If you know, you know. If you don't, I'm gonna give it to like 6:05 probably. Then we're gonna get into it. Black Powerhouse. Did you watch the movie? I hope all of y'all watched the movie. It's alright. We're gonna get into it at 6:05 sharp.
It's called Proper-gander.
Proper-gander, episode 1. I was definitely that kid that would like use the pencil to make like a beat on the desk and get in trouble all the time. Share, like, share it to all your nerdy friends. I know y'all got nerdy friends. Black Power Dia. Here we go. Oh man, I'm so nervous, dude. I can't dance good like you though. From the fairy tale movie, he don't know me very well, do he?
You don't have to pin the post though.
You said what?
You have to pin the post because if not, I can't pin it.
Did you did you post it? Oh man. Live 8. We gonna get it to 6:05, y'all. I mean, there's kind of a good amount of people. That was King Ghidorah by MF Doom, which is named after one of the monsters in the movie, so I felt it very appropriate. I felt it very appropriate to play that song. But Black Power, comrades, let me just pin this real quick. How do I do that? Okay. Black Power, comrades. This is your boy Rob coming to you with that first episode of Proper-gander. Let me bring out my notes real quick because we're getting into some heavy stuff. It's going to be hard to dissect the imperialist notions hidden behind a playful, like, kids series like Godzilla. So, yeah. Welcome to the first pilot episode. Hopefully this will be one of many. And just a quick reminder, I'm not doing this just to talk about some of my favorite stuff, even though if anyone who does know me knows I'm a huge nerd, but I also knows that whenever I watch something, I try to break down the message of what it's trying to tell me. So I thought that it would be good to make this show. So we're not just talking about our favorite nerdy stuff. I'm with the Black Hammer organization, and we're a revolutionary organization here for the liberation of black and brown people, Black Power, and we're raising funds. If you like what we're doing, if you see our work with Lil C Note, we're doing work with 2 sisters who have been are just going through the worst things and is being sanctioned by the state. We do food drives. Mine's coming up here in Orlando. Hit me up. If you support us, please donate. Black Power to all my comrades. Black Power Tito. What up, primo? But yeah. So I wanted to start off addressing something that I know people probably are going to say. And I feel like people think sometimes that I make a big deal out of certain things, like they're like, oh, Robert, you doing too much, or oh, it's just a kids movie, you're just supposed to have fun with it. But no, the reality of it is that movies, cartoons, anime, video games, these are all products of giant corporations and part of the general capitalist structure, and nothing goes between the cracks of the capitalist structure. Nothing is done without like certain purposes, especially when you look in who made the movies, especially like Godzilla, that is actually the actual U.S. military helped fund that movie and help overlook that movie. The same with those Marvel movies that y'all love. But once you understand that those people are involved with making these movies, you have to understand that their agenda must be pushed forward. That's right, dear. Everything is political. They're overseeing the movie, so they're made to look good. Essentially, these movies are made to keep their ideas in line. And I just wanted to address that. Like, no one's immune to propaganda. Like, everything that you have in your mind essentially is the product of you interacting with some sort of media. Like, whether it be, like, I don't know if this is a touchy topic, but like religion, whatever your ideas of religion comes from you interacting with a book or something, or some sort of text. And those things kind of like instill value. People have like this connotation of propaganda as like, oh, that's propaganda. Those are lies. That's whatever it may be. But propaganda doesn't necessarily have to do with lies. It's not a necessary lie. It's just a media that has an idea to give you. You feel me? Let me look at my notes real quick. Yeah. Certain malicious things about movies is that there's certain times that are represented in movies that people, the way people look back at those times is completely fictional, and it's because of movies. The thing that I'm thinking about right now is like cowboy movies. All that stuff is like wildly historically inaccurate. But when people think of those times, they think of the movies themselves. They don't think of because they don't read into it. The general population doesn't read into it. That's all they know. That's all they know how to interpret those particular times. So with that out of the way, just know propaganda is everywhere, and we have to really be careful of what you digest, just like how you eat. Like, you don't want to eat garbage, you know what I'm saying, because it's bad for you. The same way you don't want to consume imperialist media, you don't want to consume white nationalist media, because then you will produce an imperialist, a white nationalist, and we can't have that. We want to produce revolutionaries. We want to produce anti-colonial ideas, anti-imperialist ideas, and that is the essential function of the show, to locate those counter-revolutionary ideas and uproot them, replace them with revolutionary ideas. So black power to that. So let's take a Proper-gander at Godzilla, right? Anyone who knows me knows that I love Godzilla. It's a really cool series. It's just like, it has a lot of historical significance to it in terms of movies and things like that. And this one is no different. So I was really excited to see this movie. I generally just like giant robots or giant monsters fighting each other. As soon as, like, if that's involved, then I'm there. I'm so about it. But even though I did enjoy this movie, I gotta be critical of what it's trying to tell me, right? And that's what we're here for. So I want to give y'all a quick plot synopsis of what happened in Godzilla, but I'm not here to talk about like the actors and all that. I'm here to talk about the ideas. But I just want to lay out what happened, so when we talk about what happened, you'll have a better grasp as to what I'm saying. So let's do that. Godzilla King of Monsters follows the lily white family called by the name of the Russells. Mr. and Mrs. Russells are paleobiologists that work for an organization called Monarch, a non-government corporation or something that studies giant monsters and keeps them enclosed and their existence a secret. Oh yeah, spoilers for sure. Dr. Russell, the family in the last movie lost their like son in the San Francisco attacks of Godzilla 2014, and it causes the father, Dr. Russell, to go into a state of depression and alcoholism. And pretty much his wife takes his daughter and leaves him and immerses herself in the work of Monarch, which is this organization that like keeps tabs on all these crazy monsters and stuff like that. Unbeknownst to Dr. Russell, his wife Emma finished a project that they had collabed on called the Orca. And the Orca essentially like uses kind of like how whales talk to each other with like vibrations. They use that but to communicate with the giant nuclear superpowered monsters. You know what I'm saying? That's how they want to like control them. And she finished the project without him knowing, like while they were separate. And she finished the project under Monarch, but low key, she was actually working for this anarcho-terrorist, like eco-terrorist group, and she was making it for them because they essentially want to use the monsters, wake them all up to destroy part of the population, because they think that humans are destroying the planet. That, like she says, that humans are a virus that cause war, pollution, and overpopulation. She said that shit. Overpopulation is a big red flag when I heard that. But yeah, so they start waking up the monsters, and essentially, like they wake up one specific one called King Ghidorah, who definitely just puts the hands on Godzilla, then goes to Mexico, and then put the hands on Rodan and becomes the like alpha monster. Essentially, he like perches himself up on this volcano and like uses his power to like wake up all the other monsters, and the monsters like catch his vibe and they just kind of wild out because he's kind of like a badass too. Like he's evil, so since he's the alpha, the other bad guys, the other monsters are evil too, and they start like destroying the planet. And Emma, the white lady or whatever, who had just betrayed her husband and is working with these eco-terrorists, is like, oh no, I fucked up, da 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 da. And it's like obvious that was gonna happen. But yeah, because like now she's regretful that she woke up this monster. She has to pretty much, damn, I kind of skipped over this part. But yeah, like because King Ghidorah had leaned Godzilla, she has to like bring Godzilla back using nuclear power, and essentially the newly radioactively powered Godzilla goes up and runs up on King Ghidorah, and pretty much becomes like reinstates his alpha dominance all over the world. That's like a general synopsis. Like I've said, like I'm not here to give you like a like who are the actors and all that stuff like that. All that stuff doesn't really concern me. It's just a general outline. So that's generally what happened. It's not like a really deep movie, so I'm not going to get real deep with the plot synopsis, because all you need to know is really like there's monsters and they're fighting, and it's dope. That's like the superficiality of this movie. But to go into what people probably won't catch, like there's certain political implications about how this terrorist organization wants to address overpopulation and war and famine and things like that. Like she takes on a anarcho-primitivist kind of politic, and that kind of politic is actually really pervasive amongst like white leftists who don't know what the fuck they're talking about and are practically fucking useless. There's actually a DSA caucus of anarcho-primitivists who pretty much share this kind of political ideology of like, yeah, we should just destroy everything and let like go back into a primitive area, because we know that humans create all this like baggage, like environmental baggage, whatever, which is like a completely asinine political line. But yeah, addressing the historical politics of Godzilla. Godzilla has always been a political kind of movie. When Godzilla first came out, I think like 1958, it was meant to represent the kind of like unsurmountable monstrosity that was the nuclear attacks on Japan and Hiroshima that the imperial United States had just dropped on civilian populations. It meant to like internalize their helplessness in the face of this monster, essentially. And in further installations of Godzilla, where he like fights other bad guys, they kind of represented different nation states in those movies. There's like, you could look it up. There's like a dude who's like talking about how Rodan, which is like this fire breathing bird, he represented the USSR, and King Ghidorah back in those days, he represented China, which is crazy because that was like communist China, so it's like kind of like anti-communist propaganda for Japan, essentially. And that's just like the Japanese context of this media, or like this project. That's the Japanese version of Godzilla, but the American version still shares similarities. Godzilla, he's like, since the last one or whatever, like he's kind of like been only in America. You know what I'm saying? He like attacked San Francisco, and in this one he actually unites with the United States. Like for some reason Godzilla is like cool with the military in this one. So there's also an instance where King Ghidorah is kind of like, I don't know how to really call it, but it's like a orientalized almost. Like there's like an Asian character who's like, oh, ancient Chinese secrets say, it's like pretty racist the way they do it. That's why I say it, like, oh, ancient Chinese secrets say dragon is it represents this and that. So like when you see King Ghidorah in this movie, he kind of represents the outward threat of quote unquote foreign governments. Like they realize that King Ghidorah is like they use the term alien. So in that kind of sense, it shows that the U.S. is kind of like posing them as a threat to them. Like if Godzilla unites with the U.S. military and King Ghidorah represents a foreign superpower, then that's the kind of menacing idea that they're trying to get across, that like the foreign government is trying to become the alpha of the planet. Does that make sense? Like if this makes sense. Like also ask questions in the comments if I lost y'all. Y'all gotta let me know that you're still with me. Yeah. So the overarching context, like so King Ghidorah was kind of orientalized. He's like the threat from the east. That's the way they kind of show him. But there's another monster called Rodan who actually he comes from Mexico. You know what I'm saying? And that's not done on accident. So like the Mexican, so pretty much these monsters represent like different superpowers, right? And they're saying like when King Ghidorah takes control of, like he asserts himself as the alpha or whatever, it'll plunge the world into chaos. That's really the bottom line kind of imperialist propaganda that they're trying to push. It's like a kind of new, not like a Red Scare, but yeah, something along those lines. But that's like the outward threat. At the same time, I wanted to bring to light the threat that the U.S. government feels internally. Like the U.S. government makes foreigners seem like they're a threat, and that's kind of showed in this movie. But inside the U.S. government, there's its own threats, and I think it came to me when I saw the structure of the family. The family is one male married to one female who had one male child and one, a Chinese scare. That's right, Black Power, Daniel. So like the internal threat of the that this movie's trying to get across, it is shown within the family structure. And I knew this because I actually read Frantz Fanon, and I want to read a little excerpt about the significance of the families and how that shapes the society structure. It goes, the white family is the agent of a certain system. The society is indeed the sum of all the families in it. The family is an institution that prefigures a broader institution, the social or national group. Both turn on the same axis. The white family is the workshop in which one is shaped and trained for in life and society. The family structure is internalized in the superego and projected into the political and social life. In this way, the film... Okay. Yeah, so knowing that, the film shows that like the white structure of the family is being threatened by the mother, because the mother takes in this kind of new idea of like the eco-terrorism. Like she's like kind of like an independent woman, so it's almost like she has like this liberal feminism kind of idea to him. Like it seems radical, right? And it's a threat to the white structure of the family. And we know, because of what Frantz Fanon says, the white structure of the family is actually the microstructure of the broader structure of the colonial imperialist structure. Does that make sense? So that is like that is what the U.S. is scared of domestically, is what I'm trying to say. Of like a radical like feminist or whatever, or like a liberal feminist that is like going against like her patriarch, you know what I'm saying, and having all these like radical ideas trying to address climate change and like be independent in that way. But yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought on there. My bad, y'all. I'm so critical. But yeah, she brings up the notion of overpopulation, which is a highly, highly problematic idea that that the world is how it is because there's too much people, which is completely false. Like the population or like global warming isn't happening because there's too much people to feed or too much people using resources. The real truth is that the imperialist countries like America, like France, like all of Europe, really overproduce and overconsume. That's the real reality. And you can see this kind of theme in multiple movies. Like, I haven't seen the MCU movies, but I know Thanos has a similar political ideology where he wants to destroy like 70% of the universe or whatever to, in the long run, sustain more resources. So like to quote unquote like save more lives in the long run, which is completely not conducive to the real contradiction. Because if they were to talk about the real contradiction, you as or white Americans would have to think about the way that their society is structured in a way that like just consumes everything. It's the capitalist construct. The capitalism cares only about profit. So the way capitalism works is just to produce to get more money, and that ends up creating so much waste. If you don't believe me, go ahead and just Google overpopulation, white supremacist myth. It'll come up with like a whole bunch of studies saying that America wastes, I believe it's like 150,000 tons of food on the regular. Like if you worked at a restaurant, like you know how much food is wasted like every single day. So the real issue isn't overpopulation, it's overconsumption by a small few. And these movies can't really address that issue because it would just be, it'd be too much. It'd be too much for their fragile white brain. You feel me? Yeah. There are certain scenes that is just so crazy the way they like frame certain things. Like there's a scene that they're in Mexico and the US military dude is like trying to save people from Rodon's like gust winds. So like he like puts himself in harm's way to save this little brown boy. And I just thought that was so funny, bro, because the reality of the situation is that the U.S. government does not save no motherfucking brown boys. The U.S. government kills brown people, black people in mass every single fucking day. So that's why they have to use this apparatus of the movies to show you the American military doing good by black and brown people, because the reality is the complete fucking opposite. And it's completely disgusting. As a matter of fact, in the previous Godzilla installation, he also saved like a little brown Hawaiian boy. Like, there's no way in hell. That's not the reality of it. Like, if you really wanted to save that boy, give that boy back his land. That's what we need to be talking about. Like, the idea that American military like goes out of his way to save like young black and brown youth is a complete farce. Another really interesting image, it's actually in the propaganda of this little like this web series, is when King Ghidorah is perched on what is essentially his throne, the throne of the King of Monsters. He like spreads his wings, and in the distance there's a cross. And when I first saw that, I'm just like, dang, that looks badass. But I didn't really know what to think of it. Black Power, Christian, it's been a minute. I didn't know what to think of that image, but now that I've kind of like sat with it a bit, I realized that if King Ghidorah represents the external threat of, let's say, the East, that image of him, in contrast of the cross, which the cross represents Christianity, and Christianity was integral in colonizing like all of the world, then that picture is meant to represent the threat to the Western civilization that the East is imposing. Like King Ghidorah is being menacing, and the cross is right there, almost as if to like say like King Ghidorah is gonna engulf the cross, or is a threat to that, which is essentially the civilization of the West. And we're talking about Godzilla King of Monsters. But yeah, let me look at my notes again real quick. Black Power, yo. So, talked about the myth of imperialism. Talked about the cross. But yeah, I just wanted to point out those things. There's really, what is Jazz saying? Western civilization? Yeah, I mean, we had just laid out that, yeah, we're talking about Godzilla King of Monsters. But yeah, like generally, bottom line, in that movie, Godzilla represents the might of the military overcoming the foreign superpowers that are threatening the Western dominance. Western dominance in the shape of Godzilla. If Rodon represents Mexico and King Ghidorah represents quote unquote the East. Yeah. I think that that's the main thing to carry out from that movie. I did love that movie. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I said, I'm like a huge Godzilla fan or whatever, and all I wanted to see was like monsters like fighting each other and stuff like that. But it also goes to show like how much money people put into these movies, and like the grandioseness of them, like how expensive they look, will be one of the most appealing things. But like that's how they can slip in those imperialist values into. But yeah, go ahead and watch it. But for sure, peep what I was saying, bro, and hit me up. But yeah, Black Power, y'all. That's generally the gist of what I wanted to say. I don't know if y'all had any questions, if y'all saw the movie, if y'all like it. Let me know. Black Power, that's no problem. Dropping knowledge is important. The subliminal message, yeah. I'm not sure what's the next thing I'm going to be reviewing. It's definitely going to be a lot more organized. I'm going to tell you that. But y'all should let me know. I want to review what you want me to review. So if y'all don't tell me anything, I'm going to have to review Stranger Things. And that's just the tea. You feel me? Because I know it's like trending or whatever, or that it was trending, but I really don't want to watch no motherfucking Stranger Things, because I think that shit corny as fuck. I can already tell you it's like MAGA propaganda, but I'll like go into it a little bit more. But yeah, any questions before I jump off here? No questions, no comments, concerns. Remember that this is a Daniel Carmona says, there was even a scene towards the end during the final fight where Godzilla appears and then the Air Force appears behind him. Yeah, dude, like when he pulled up to thank you. When he pulled up to King Ghidorah, he had the whole army behind him. It's like real corny. Yeah, I bought this actually. I don't know how to say your name. I might say like Jazz. Yeah. What other instances were there? Talk about it. Is Daniel the only one who watched this shit? Or watched this movie? Anyone else watch this movie? Let me know. But if not, I'm gonna jump off. Black Power. Alright, y'all. So that was the pilot episode of Proper-gander. Now I know what issues I might be facing next episode, and I'll definitely do a more concise kind of job. Sometimes I feel like being put on the spot kind of makes me random or ramble. But yeah, next episode, if y'all don't tell me anything else, I'm gonna do Stranger Things. And remember to donate to my organization. We're doing a lot more. This is just a side thing that I wanted to do to make people more aware of propaganda, because it's so prevalent. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if there's nothing else, y'all, Black Power.